Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Goblin Talk. I am your host, Paul, and today we have my friend Eric on the show. I think he's the first guest to appear on a second episode of Goblin Talk. Congratulations, Eric.
I was not aware of this. Thanks for having me again.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Hell
This is
yeah.
always a good time.
To lay the groundwork for this episode, one of Eric's favorite things to do is DM me videos about conspiracy theories on Facebook. So finally, we kind of touched on it on the last podcast for a little bit, but I said, screw it. Let's just do a whole episode about conspiracy theories because it's such a fun topic. So that's what today is. It's Eric's podcast. He's just going to throw them at me and we're going to discuss them one by one. So, Eric, take it away.
All right. I just have a few. The first one we'll start with is the flat Earth. What's your thought on it? Just to kind of, just
Flat
so
Earth.
I can see. Go ahead.
Flat Earth, for me personally, it's kind of one of those like you're an idiot if you believe in it, just automatically.
Right.
To just put
That's
it
kind of
bluntly.
what I used to think. That's what I used to think. Until I started looking into it more, and what actually caught my interest even in it, I like for the longest time I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was watching. I think it was might have been a Joe Rogan podcast. Rampage Jackson, the UFC fighter, was on, and he's a flat earther, and he was talking about what made him become a flat earther was it had to do with the I believe he said like the emergency landing plans for airplanes. And kind of what brought it up was there had to be an emergency landing one time. This lady, she was pregnant, and I believe it was somewhere in Asia, and I believe she was flying to LA, and she had lied saying like she wasn't as far along as what she was, but she actually went into labor during the flight, and they had to do an emergency landing, but they landed in Alaska. And if you look at the globe or the way Rampage was talking, that should not have even really been an option for them. And then they get into talking about the undersea cables, like the internet cables that are under the ocean, basically. They actually, like, I've seen where they've said like 80 to 90% of all of our communication is done through them, even military stuff. And those, if you look at the globe, they don't look, you would think that they would be like this, and but really they're just real quick lines right across. And I didn't think much of it until I saw a flat Earth map, and it looks exactly like what the way that those cable lines are ran under the ocean.
The thing
So
is,
that
though, how do
kind of
people
made me
know?
like, what the hell?
Like, has anybody actually like gone to the bottom of the ocean and like used like a GPS and like tracked each line, like where it goes and
I don't
the
think it's
curves in it?
possible to go to the bottom of the ocean.
Then how
Probably
could they
like with
say this is the map of the lines of the ocean?
I don't know. I don't think. I think the it could be even larger. Like Earth could be larger than what we even think. But with the flat Earth people, a lot of them, what they think is that there's what we call planets are actually other continents on the other side of Antarctica and stuff. Because we can't. I'm pretty sure nobody can travel and like actually like visit Antarctica without going to like a certain base or something and having like all these permissions and access. And some think that it's because they don't want people to know what's on the other side of the Antarctic. There could be other continents that that's where UFOs are coming from. What we see, what people are calling UFOs, are actually just coming from there instead of other planets. If
Okay.
that makes any sense.
It doesn't, but it's interesting.
So
The other
basically,
planets.
what some so the other planets are actually continents just on the other side of the the Antarctic, basically.
So the world's end is Antarctica, is what they're saying.
No, we, as far as we're concerned, yes. But what flat earthers are saying, or what other people are, I don't know if it actually even falls into the flat earthers, but people are saying that there's stuff beyond the Antarctic that we don't know anything about. And there's pyramids on Antarctic as well,
Like
which why the
pyramids?
hell would there be? Yes, like pyramids. Why the hell are those there?
I've never seen those. Are they made of rocks
I don't
or
know.
ice?
Yeah, I mean they pulled up a Google image and it looks like a white mountain pyramid basic. I mean, but it looks exactly like a pyramid,
Oh.
just like the ones in Egypt.
But it's not made of rock
But
though, it's made
I
of
mean it's
ice.
covered in snow.
Oh, okay.
They We don't know what it's made of because they won't let people explore it.
Okay,
There's
maybe
like a
maybe it's like
no-fly zone over the Antarctic.
maybe it's like another alien like put the pyramid there and then it got covered in snow and the government's trying to hide it from us.
It could be, or it could be the way that the aliens use the pyramids as like compasses, basically, or like ways to direct the way that they move.
Okay.
I've heard that as well.
But flat earth, so
Um,
I feel like a plane or what about like the space view of earth? Do they say that that's all fake? Is that like their way to justify the flat earth?
yeah, I've actually seen a guy. He put pictures of like NASA's like what they say Earth looks like from the satellites, and he put it next to one that it was literally the back of a frying pan or a pot, and you couldn't you would think that that was Earth or the sky at least. Like it was kind of weird how how simple it could be for them to fake shit. I'm not saying that we don't have satellites in outer space, but I don't believe that we went to the moon.
Okay. So we're
So
getting
that's
off
a
the
whole
earth now.
nother
Now we're going to the
conspiracy
moon.
as well. Yeah, the moon, no way in hell we went to the moon in 1969. I don't buy it at all. I think it was basically a pissing contest with Russia. We wanted to get to the moon first, and so here, let's fake a bunch of shit and say that we did. And um, well, Elon Musk, he's saying it's going to take, don't quote me on this, but like 20 some times to refuel to hit the moon, to make it to the moon nowadays. 1969, you think those guys refueled 20 some times to make it to the moon? Oh, Neil Armstrong did that? I
Let
call
me ask you a
bullshit.
question real quick because you might know more about the topic than me. I'm pretty sure I remember the moon landing was supposedly a live feed. Is that true? Was it supposed to be a live feed
Yeah,
to America?
yeah, supposedly there was so whenever you see like the video of like I believe it's Neil Armstrong like coming down like a couple steps and he's supposedly the first man on the moon. How the hell did that camera get there? There's no like prints or anything for like a remote control vehicle or car or anything to get to where it could even take a photo. And also, how can that film make it back through all the radiation?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So in 1969,
So
having the live feed bounce from the moon to everyone's television sets in America, I remember hearing stories from like my
yeah,
uncles and stuff
right.
saying like they had to play with like the antennas just to get like Frankenstein to play on the TV or like the Yankee game. So how the fuck did they get like a
Uh
crystal
huh.
clear
Yeah,
image of the moon landing and get it to fly all the way down to Earth in
because they
1969?
probably recorded it years before and finally had all their shit together and they're like, hey, let's pull this.
Yeah,
And
that's I believe that it's
it
not live. I think the moon landing could be possible in my opinion, but the fact that they said it was live, I think, is BS.
okay. Also, the suit that Neil Armstrong wore had they're like a one piece suit, and so the boot treads don't match the actual picture of the boot treads that are on the moon supposedly.
Oh, okay. So they both
So
had different boots.
that does they had different, at least different, like soles or treads of the shoe or the boot. Um, there's like video of there's a flag on the moon and it's waving.
There's
No,
wires in the
you're
flag.
like,
That one is
is
silly. I've
there?
heard people
Yeah,
say that. Yeah. There's wires in it
yeah,
holding it up.
yeah, holding it, whatever. I see. Well, hell, man, I send you videos all the time of like guys that are supposedly on like the space shuttle somewhere and it's alive and they have like a ball and it drops to the floor or somebody falls down and then like you can tell like a cord is pulling them back
That's the
up
one
quickly.
that
Like,
made me start thinking. Everything you sent me, I was like, I don't know. But when there's that video of the astronaut on the moon and then he just like gets to his feet, if you fell down in that big suit, I feel like you'd be like
yeah.
struggling to get up. He just like jerks up like nothing, like a string. Like the guys
Yeah, it
behind the
was like
stage just
he
went,
was like a
"Eek!"
puppet almost. Like,
Yeah, like you know the scene
oh
from
shit, he
21 Jump
fell. We
Street?
gotta pull him up.
21 Jump
Yeah,
Street? He has some fairy dust, motherfucker, where he jumps
yeah,
over
I know the
Channing
movie.
Tatum. Yeah,
Fuck
that's what it
it.
reminded me of.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's stuff like that. It's like it honestly pisses me off because of taxes, because NASA gets such a huge budget and stuff, and they're faking stuff. But would we have the technologies that we have today without NASA? Probably not. But while we're on the moon, yeah, I do not believe that happened. Um, I don't even know if it's possible nowadays to get to the moon because why wouldn't other countries be talking about it? Did they just say, "Oh, U.S. did it. Well, we just won't do it then"? Or at least
uh,
I've never heard of another country
I think
landing on the
China is
moon. Was
trying to.
India maybe
I've heard China's been trying to.
trying to? Okay, we did it in '69. Okay, like
Allegedly.
that was a long fucking time ago.
We chose to
Right.
go to the moon.
And so you can't tell me, right. And I would almost say, like, China's technology is probably about as good or better than ours for the majority of stuff. And why are they just now, like, about to go or thinking about going?
I believe Elon Musk could
I
do
don't
it.
know.
If there's
But,
anybody that could, he's pretty smart.
yeah, Elon is, he's a, he's a character. I like him, but, like,
I
I
think
also,
we can actually get to the moon. Yeah, we just need $100 million to fund it, and using the power of Tesla.
I couldn't imagine being as smart as he is. Like,
He just talks so weird.
it's
I like the way he
right.
talks.
I'm
It's
pretty
like
sure he's like autistic, like
it's almost like
to a
Butthead,
degree.
like smart Butthead. Like,
Yeah. Hey, Beavis, Beavis, dude, you're
you
bringing me back
suck.
to like second, third grade. I used to think Beavis and Butthead was the shit.
It still is, dude. Well, maybe
Uh,
not. The newer version isn't as funny as the old version, but the old version still holds up. It's still very funny to this day.
I pretty much I think the last thing that I watched of Beavis and Bud was like Beavis and Bud Do America.
Dude, that movie's awesome.
Yeah, I think
That
that
still
was the
holds up. I
last
just
one that
watched
I
that like a
saw.
month ago. I thought it was great.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it many times, but
Oh,
I just rewatched it.
it's been forever. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
dude.
I'm on summer break. My wife and daughters are in Springfield, so I have the house to myself for the next couple days, and I might have to watch some Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, it's a really sweet watch too. It's only like an
Anyway,
hour and 20 minutes. It's not long at all. It doesn't drag.
yeah. So let's get back on to the conspiracy. So
Sounds like a plan.
UFOs. Do you
Okay.
what's your thought on those?
I think you'd have to be really dumb to not believe in aliens. I just feel like if the universe is really as big as they say it is, there's no way that there aren't other creatures out there.
There can't be something else. I
I
agree.
think it's weird that there haven't been
And
creatures dumb enough to like really show their face. I think that's the weird part. Like, is every creature just so much smarter than us that they're like, oh, we're not going to reveal ourselves to these dumb creatures, you know? Like, that's
or
the
they're
part I don't
like
get.
or we're like fucking ants to them. You know, like you don't think much of walking over a bunch of ants, you know? That's one way
Yeah.
that I kind of look at it. Um,
But some
but
people just for fuck of it
UFOs,
step on
like,
ants and just crush them for fun.
yeah, maybe there's not a species of aliens that have we've found or that have came across us that have decided to do that yet.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Or some people like to keep ants as
Fucking
pets. That might
ants.
have happened.
Yeah. Well, there's some conspiracies that say that we're actually the aliens. Humans are the aliens on Earth. There was a mothership that dropped some of us off, and here we are.
Wow.
I don't know if I believe that one per se, but
It would
yeah,
have to be
that's
like
definitely one. Um,
2,000, 3,000 years ago, something like that.
probably even more than that. Um,
When
but
are the Mesopotamians from?
anyways, I don't know enough. I have no idea.
That's like the
Like
earliest
there were
society we
some
really learn
people
about.
that were yeah, but there's one before that even like the people were like all giants and shit. Um, I don't know what it's actually called, but that's going to drive me nuts. I'll end up texting you that probably as soon as this is over. But UFOs, have you ever listened or heard of Bob Lazar?
Yeah, I've heard all about that guy.
Okay. Well, he's the one that like kind of got me more interested in UFOs than anything. The fact that this guy was like his story never changes and he was basically hired to reverse engineer a spaceship, a UFO. And he said on one podcast, I know he said like a guy that he had worked there previously or had worked with him died by like touching something, and like he's had his house raided. Like they're looking for this element that isn't even on like the periodic table, but the space or the UFO used it to. That's what they actually is part of what uses them to, or what they use to actually travel. And that I don't know what the symbol is um, called anymore. I forget it, but um, yeah, it's actually on the periodic table now, but it wasn't before.
Whoa. Is that supposedly like the wormhole generator that they talk about?
I don't know much about that one. You can maybe fill me in on that one.
So some theories I've seen on shows like like Ancient Aliens on the History Channel and stuff, they say that there's an alien craft that was discovered that had this a wormhole generator that allows like space travel to be sped up at like the speed of light, basically. Like you can jump across the galaxy with it, like sort of like the hyperspace in Star Wars
Really
or like warp in Star Trek. And allegedly somebody tried reverse engineering one that crashed on planet Earth, but
interesting.
it's never been
That kind
found,
of
obviously.
that's a good jump to my next conspiracy is I watched this guy. It was like a NASA. He did something with NASA, I believe, and he was like he had access to like all these buildings because he also did maintenance. And there's like this laser weapon in the Antarctic that we have that caught, and he's on record saying that it was friendly fire. What, like, these waterfalls, or not waterfalls, but like earthquakes and like tsunamis and shit that happened in, I don't know what country, but he's like, that was us. We did that. We on accident. We didn't mean to, but it was friendly fire. And what makes me think, but that makes me think that what happened in Hawaii was actually friendly fire, because if you look at any of the videos, like anything that's blue didn't burn. Anything that it was like somebody just turned off a laser or turned off a fire and that's where it stopped. I've never seen, like, where I come from, we have fires, not like wildfires by any means, but these are fires that you start all the time. And I've been, I've had neighbors that have burned off their entire uh, woods or timber because it's good for, it clears the ground for growth and stuff. And I've never seen a fire get hot enough to melt aluminum. Like, and there's or photos of, it's like vehicles, but the rim, it's an aluminum rim, and it looks like melted cheese. And
Oh shit.
to for a wildfire to get that hot, I don't know what type of circumstances would have to happen to make that happen. I don't think it's possible. So I think maybe maybe it was fire and or the laser or whatever. And I also think it's really weird that none of like the celebrities, all these billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar homes, they didn't get touched, but all the locals, their
It's
shit
always the
got
rich that are protected.
fried. I'm not joking. And
I know,
um
it's just funny.
I it's fucking bullshit is what it is. But that's the life or the world that we live in. Well, like, when you look at Zuckerberg, like building these like underground compounds and shit. Whenever these guys are building bunkers, it makes you wonder, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are these guys building bunkers where they can live underground for 10 years?
In case of
Because
a
they probably
war,
know something that's going to happen,
nuclear war.
dude. I Nuclear war is probably in the cards, I would say.
You could say that for the last
Nowadays,
like 80
I wouldn't
years
have
though.
said that. No, no.
Yes, the Cold
Like,
War.
dude, yeah, but like it wasn't like it is now though. Like, or maybe I just have a different mindset, but I feel like at least the United States is at a tipping point as far as people getting tired of the shit. And I don't know. There's some conspiracies that say that there's going to be a civil war. That's why that movie came out. They always tell you what's going to happen before it even actually happens. That's what some of the conspiracy theorists think.
Like The Simpsons, how it always predicts the future.
The Simpsons, dude, how? how do they predict it? Like, I've heard some people say like the writer is a time traveler
Matt Groening.
and shit. Um, yeah, that's his name. It slipped my mind, but yeah, he's a time traveler, and that's how he's able to uh, do what he does.
The shot of Trump on the
But
escalator
it's
was
interesting,
uncanny.
man. That's a little too in depth for me to like say, oh shit, that's fake. Um, even the 9/11 one, like with Bart holding the newspaper and it's 9 and it's right and then it's the Twin Towers.
Dude,
That type of stuff.
9/11
I
shit is
think
a whole can of worms. Have you ever heard the
dude,
Back to the
it's
Future
an
one?
inside job. No.
Dude, Back to the Future, it freaked me out because it's like my favorite movie. I saw this really creepy video essay once saying that Back
You're
to the
talking with
Future,
like Michael J. Fox, like the original?
yes, they're saying like the whole movie was predicting nine
Okay.
11. There's symbolism throughout the entire franchise. So, to point a few things out, just to like
All
start the
right, I'm gonna have to
conspiracy
watch
for you.
it tonight.
You'll have to see the video essay for it, but just to point a few things out. So, the Twin Pines Mall, right? The Twin Pines Mall
Yes.
is having a terrorist attack. Marty is told to go to the Twin Pines Mall, and he gets there at 1:16 a.m. If you flip 1:16 over, it's 9/11 at the Twin Pines Mall, and there's a terrorist attack coming, right? Later on in the movie,
Right.
there is this scene where where he goes back to the future, and the two lines on the street look like a 1-1.
Yeah,
There's
like
this
with the
diner.
fire.
There's this
Yeah.
diner in the on the same street called the 69 Diner, and there's a big 9. And when they zoom out, it goes 9 and then the two ones, 9/11.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Dude,
then
I 9/11 is a inside job. I remember I was a sophomore in high school whenever it happened. I remember sitting in, it was math class. One of my best friends, he was late for school. He was always late for school. And he came in, like, he's like, dude, like, a plane just flew into the Twin Towers. I'm like, what? And then, like, something came across the intercom, and, like, we had, like, an assembly in the gym, and they told us what was going on. And we just, like, basically watched TV, like, the news the rest of the day. But like that changed a lot of our lives because a lot of my fucking friends joined the military because of that shit. And I think it was definitely an inside job. They knew what they were going to do, and it happened. Um, the Pentagon wasn't even a fucking plane that touched it. There's no metal, no material left over from a fucking full size jet coming into the Pentagon. Get
there's
the
not
fuck out
one
of here.
video of
And
the building with
also,
more cameras than any other building in the whole country.
right. And there's the one video that you do see, it looks like a fucking missile, not a plane. It looks like a jet missile flying through the fucking air. And um, the 9/11, I remember, like, and it's probably shit that you can't even find anymore, but I remember, I mean, I was 16 whenever this happened, and I remember, like, watching the news and stuff and, like, watching like firemen saying like I've never seen anything like it. It was just like explosion after explosion, boom, 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 and like that's not how that building would fall from an impact from a plane. I don't know. I don't trust the government because of all this shit anymore though,
Yeah.
and that kind of probably lets me be a little bit more of a conspiracy theorist. I'm not
So
joking, Paul. If a UFO landed in my yard, I'd be like, I knew it. The only other one that I have is JFK. JFK, I definitely think was an inside job. I think he was actually probably going against the agenda of the elites and um, the CIA. I think took him out. Excuse me.
really? I've heard it
Yeah, I
was
think the CIA took
Castro.
him out. Well,
I've
yeah, because of all the shit in Cuba right then.
Some people say that that Castro
But
did
I
it
think
because they were
it's
trying so hard to kill him, and there was all these plans to try and assassinate him. That he had a man on the inside in America that just did it to say like
hmm.
"fuck you," stop trying to kill me.
Then why did Lee Harvey Oswald get the pin on
Um,
it?
well, he
Or was
probably
Lee Harvey Oswald working for Castro?
exactly. That's the part that's like a mystery. You don't know why his
So,
involvement would be with Castro, but that's what people say that he hired him to do it or had some kind of connection to him to get him to do it.
all right, I can get down with that one. I think the driver, that's who probably actually put the bullet in that killed him because there was two bullets. Never found the other one. I saw a video where and supposedly the video that we was actually released to the public isn't even the actual video that was edited. So you can't see the two shots. You can't see the driver shoot the first time. He shot twice, or Lee Harvey Oswald might have even shot, but the driver is the one who actually killed him.
I've seen a pretty graphic video,
And
dude, from above, and it looks like a sniper shot from above. It doesn't look like it comes from the front seat. His head, it's
see
very
the
disgusting.
video that is supposedly, oh, I'm sure it blows it like a watermelon.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a
And
handgun or anything.
are you are you sure?
I
Like,
mean,
do you know
I
your
I have never
calipers of
personally seen
ammo?
someone's head get shot, but it looks like it's coming from above.
But Lee Harvey Oswald was almost at a straight angle, supposedly. He was up on like a little hill, but at that time, whenever JFK was shot, it was basically it would have been like eye level.
Oh wow, I thought he was in a building. I didn't even know.
So, are you saying it came from a building? No, he
That's
was
what I
on
thought.
this hill or something. Yeah, no, he wasn't. I mean, these are conspiracies. So, um, the one that I know of, he was on a like a hill, like a knoll type thing, not in a building. But it very easily could be a sniper somewhere. But I don't know. I think it was the driver, and I think the CIA wanted to take him out because he was going against what they wanted him to do.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know on that one, but that is like one of the craziest moments in American history. Uh, do you
Like
think
my
Jack Ruby
mom's
was
ate
right?
up with JFK. I don't know enough about Jack Ruby to really even say anything.
He's the guy who shot
You can fill me in.
Oswald.
What's he say? Oh yeah. Um, do I think he was right for shooting it? I think
Allegedly, he was
Lee Harvey
involved with the
Oswald
mob.
probably. Well, I think he knew that Lee Harvey Oswald was going to chirp, and he was told to get rid of him, and that's what happened.
People look at him like he was like
It's
a
all about
hero,
not letting people talk. Oh yeah.
like he
No,
just wanted to take him out because he killed the president.
he was such a outstanding citizen that he like I'm doing this for my country. You took up my president. I'm taking you out. Is that what people
Exactly.
thought?
Yes, a lot of people believe
Okay.
that.
Well, the only people that I think would ever do that. Well, I'm not saying there's a lot of crazy people in the world, but would be like a father and somebody does something to their kid or something like
That's
I
actually happened
the
before.
president.
In the 70s, there was like this karate
Well,
sensei
the
that
one.
took a bunch of kids on a trip, and he was like doing pedophile stuff, and the parents found out about it, and he like kidnapped the kids, and then eventually the cops found him, and they got the kids back, and they were flying him back to California to face a trial, and the dad was waiting in the airport with a gun. He was like hiding behind like the telephone
Yeah,
booth, and then he popped out and he shot him in the head.
yeah, that's whenever. Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking of actually. I didn't know all the backstory behind it though. No, hell yeah, somebody does something like that to my daughters. Yeah, those are really the topics that I had to kind of go over. I got more that I can come up with, but that's all that I really wanted to kind of talk with you tonight about.
Yeah, dude, we really went off the rails. We had some interesting topics today. All right, well, I think on that note, we could end this episode of Goblin Talk, but that was awesome. That was fun conspiracy conversation. Thank you for joining me again, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Paul. I appreciate you having me on, and it was fun talking about some of these wild conspiracies.
Hell yeah. And everyone who's watching, I appreciate it, and we'll see y'all next time.